It's been 21 days since I last spoke to y'all. So, with that said, good evening, SBC. Good evening, SBCC. And good evening to all points in between, up and down, left and right, circumference, diameter, and anything else. This is the February 1st edition of SBC Tuesday Talk. Almost forgot the name of the show that quick. Glad you could be with us. Glad you can join us. And this is your host and head chef and church van driver, Mr. Mike Walker. Glad to have y'all with us here today. And it's been a long journey, y'all. It's just been long, and thank y'all for y'all support and your prayers and sending strippergrams and everything else to cheer me up. So thank you so. They laugh. They laugh at anything sometimes. Thank you so much, though. And without further ado, I'm just gonna do the salutations right quick. Marcus, glad to glad to hear you here in the studio with us. Sasha Doja, glad to have you with us, dear. Glad to have you with us. Sudden change. Is this your first time here with us? Okay, well, glad to have you. Hey, Jenna, how you doing? Kimberly Murphy, so glad to have you here. Karen Pruitt, I think this is your first time. Glad to have you. Cassandra Cunningham, I think this is your first time. Glad to have you here. Hey, Andrea, so good to see you here tonight. I cannot pronounce your name, but thank you so much for being here with us, brother.
Wow.
I just say Lawal. So glad to have you here with us.
Woo woo.
Teresa, bring some ice cream to the after party. Stacy, glad to have y'all here. Have you here, Shantina Allen. Is this your first time here? If it is, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Theodora, glad to have you here. Why is it when you write something, I hear it in your voice? But that is what it is. But I don't know. Dwan Jackson, well, he in the studio too. Okay. Why y'all do that? Leslie is in the studio as well.
I'm greeting the people.
We're showing our love, Mike. We're showing our love.
No.
Look at that. Been 3 weeks and they still know how to act. But yeah, Thelma Jones. Okay, we tried to get through this because it's been a while. Yes. Andrea Jenkins. See, why are these folks doing this?
I understand.
Margaret.
You gotta call folk out.
Margaret, glad to have you here. Sasha said, "Welcome back, Mike." Well, thank you so much for that greeting. Thank you so. Oh goodness, chef with no kitchen. He delivered other folks food. Boy, y'all are something today. Well, Liz doing fine. Yeah, this is our first live. Glad to have you here, Irene. I'm trying to get through it. Good to have you, Irene. Hey, Keisha.
Wow.
Hey, Keisha. Good to see you. Tiffany. She's a first time visitor. Now, y'all know, y'all be ashamed of yourself. Hey, cousin Sonia. Glad to have you here. And again, thank you. Well, let's get started, y'all. Let's get started. Let me introduce y'all to this panelist. Bloop. And here we go. On starting from right, we're gonna circle on. We got from Birmingham Metro, Sister Leslie Roof. Glad to have you here. We got from the Sunshine State, Brother Dewan Jackson. We got from Jackson, Mississippi. We got Sister Kata Walker. We got from Birmingham Metro, Marcus Wilbanks, and we got from the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Sister Andrea Jenkins. Glad to
The
have
lover
you.
state. The lover state. I'm just saying.
The lover
That's
state.
what it says. Virginia's for lovers. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
I have not found that out personally, but that's what they say.
Oh, y'all. So that tell you how spicy this show gonna be tonight. Ooh.
Welcome back, Mike.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Okay. And of course, don't forget to look, they already acted silly. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Please do that, okay? So we're gonna start with our first topic for the evening. As you know, I've been laid up and convalescing for 3 weeks or what have you, and laying up in the hospital. And I was just thinking, you know, how does medical situations such as the one I had affect relationships? How do you treat it? How do you work through it? You know, what if the person you're dating going through a medical crisis? How do you deal with that? Is it that bad that you may not be there for them, or are you willing to help them make it through their medical situation? So the first topic is relationships and medical crisis and conditions, though. So, and I guess the question I'm going to ask is, how would you handle it if your significant other was in a medical crisis? And how would you like to be handled if you were in a medical crisis? Leslie Roof, go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening.
I would definitely say that being in a relationship and then a medical crisis comes into play in the midst of that relationship is definitely going to be a test of that relationship. You're going to really know if that person, I want to say love you, but you want to know they really care about you. Because people can love you and not really know how to care for you when you are not your whole self, able to be yourself, because when people are sick, different types of parts of your personality may come out that it may have never been revealed before. So it's definitely an opportunity for someone to see you at your lowest point or close to a low point and seeing how you respond to the world. And then how they respond to you. So as for me, I'm the kind of person, I'm a straight up nurturer, and I care deeply. Sometimes I have to be careful how deeply I'm into certain things. But if I'm in a relationship with someone, I'm there. I mean, now if I'm married, I have no choice to be there. But I'm in a relationship, I'm there as much as I'm allowed to be there. Because remember, you're not married to this person. So it's not like you can be at the bedside helping with medical decisions, but you're there in the way that you can for that person, that family allows you to be there and so forth. But I'm definitely there to let them know that I'm praying for them and able to help them get back to wherever they have to get back to. And what that medical crisis has allowed them to suffer. So it could be so many things. If it's an illness or if it's chemo and a car accident, it's so much. But I think for me, if that relationship means something to me and that person, I have to say, if that person wants me there, because often people are in a condition where they just shut out everybody. And you can't get close to them in the time of their weakness. Pride usually hinders things like that. So there's so many factors in place. It's about, can you care for that person the way they need to be cared for, not the way you want to care for them? Will they allow you to care for them? And for me, if it's me in that type of situation, I've had dreams of myself being in a hospital. This has not ever happened, so I'm not sure, it's one of those prophetic things or whatever, because I have dreams that come true. But it's one of those situations where I only want people at my bedside that I know who really love me. Because I don't need you there so you can get a report to take to the street committee. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
If I'm in crisis, I need people who are prayer warriors, who are concerned about my well-being, and who truly love me, not there so they can go back and give the street committee a report. So I'm just very well at discerning that. So I'm very picky. So I'm all about it. My circle is very small, and that people that will be at my bedside will probably be even smaller group of people.
Okay, let me read what Tiffany Murphy says, right? If I can get to it. Okay, here it go. Tiffany says, if you really love that person, you be there in the capacity that you can. Check on them, bring or order dinner, maintain contact as long as they are able. You adapt and support as I would expect the same. Brother Dewan, let me ask you a question. And considering what Leslie said, though, and the topic tonight, uh, does the time frame of y'all dating would make a difference?
I was just about to bring that up. Thinking about this question, I go back to my parents. So my dad served in the Army for 23 years, 82nd Airborne. He served in Iraq doing Desert Shield. So he has a lot of problems. He's been through a lot of problems. He's been in a coma. He's been through all this. And through all of these ailments, my mom was right there, right beside him. Been married, I think, going on 47, 48 years. So compare that to somebody that you're dating or in a relationship for like 3 months. You know, how would you be there if that person all of a sudden said, "Oh, went to a doctor, I have to do dialysis," or I just found out I got a cancer, I got to do this chemo treatments. After dating somebody for 2 or 3 months, would you be there for that person? I mean, do you love that person? How do you know if you love that person or not? It's only been 3 months. So I think time is a factor with that as well, because some people, it'll be a test for them to be like, you know what, I only known you for like 3 months. I don't know if I can go through this. Come back to me when you get through it. You know, or you have those people be like, you know what, I see something there. So, you know, I'm gonna stick this out and let's see what goes, how we can get through this. So it all depends on the person you're actually with and the time frame you've been with that person. That's what I think.
Okay. And that makes a good point right there. Cousin Keena, let me ask you a question. With you being a medical professional, okay, do you have a different opinion or a unique opinion on how to approach that? How would you approach that? And better yet, how would you want them to approach you?
I'm the world's worst patient. I tend to like to be by myself. I don't want the smothering. I do want you to call me, make sure I'm on this side of earth. But I'm not the best patient. But I do want my core people to be my, like Leslie said, my prayer warriors, the people that are not going to put my business out there in the street. To be around me. But I was sitting there thinking about this, and I was thinking about different scenarios where I've seen where it's been weird. That you think that a couple's committed, and there's a traumatic injury that happens, and all of a sudden things change. I'm sitting here thinking about 2 different incidents, actually 3. I'm keeping this very short. One was, and one was a guy, husband and wife, been married about 12 years, and he had a motorcycle accident. So they released him to ICU, and then he was at the LTAC, and he was on a vent, and apparently he had been cheating on her left and right. So
okay.
Yeah, she got hers back, and she started going, and we started noticing it. You know, she would not be at the hospital, and she would come through, check, and she would be dressed up, going out for the night. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna judge it. You know, I'm not. You know, that's things that sometimes that happens. There's another incident where there was someone had a brain fart, had a stroke, and
Brain fart. Yeah, okay.
and we thought that this, they were married, but actually they were estranged, and he was abusive and beat upon her. Hadn't finished out all the paperwork, so he was making all the medical decisions. So you have to make sure your business and your affairs are in order before you have something happen, because he was signing and making decisions on her behalf, and her children had no idea that she was even in the accident. And the third thing I was going to say was that I have not really a friend, more like an associate, where she met a guy, sweet as pie, sweet guy, nice looking, but he had a transplant, and her washer went out. They've been maybe dating for a few months, and her washer went out, and he went down to Sears and bought her a brand new washer, had it replaced, and they had only, known her a few months. And he was like, well, whatever you need, it's, you my woman, I got you. And then he got sick. And he asked her, can you go get me some alkaline water? And then she's like, you know what? I can't do this. I'm like, what you mean you can't do this? It's like, I just don't know. I just can't do this. So I think you need to really evaluate the people in your circle and make sure that when you are talking to people, evaluate how they treat the people around them, how they care for the people around them. If their mother gets sick, if their children, especially if their own children get sick, how they handle it. Are they just going to pass off the children to their mother, or are they involved in the children's life, male or female? And that's and that's a good inkling of how they will care for you, I think. Okay, that's all.
Oh, you good. Let me read these few comments. Ursula Griffin, glad to have you here. I would stay by his side if we are in a relationship. That would be enough for me. Time would have been spent getting into the relationship. No other length of time would have made any difference to me. He is ill, and I will be there. Jenna Morgan says, I would be there for them and send them items to make them feel better. I actually dated someone that suffered temporary paralysis when I was younger, and I went to the hospital to support him. My father has been a great example of being a caregiver. My mom got sick their first year of marriage. Now he was there supporting her through it all until she passed. 30 plus years of marriage. Wow, we still got some. I'm gonna read these right quick. Shantina says, unfortunately, some long-term marriages during medical crisis. I've known people who have walked away. Some people are not emphatic. Well, I think it's supposed to be empathetic. I might be wrong, but they're not cut out for this. And oh no, what Ronald talking about? But anyway, Marcus, have you ever thought about what would happen in a good relationship? You met this what you consider perfect woman. Everything went well. And let's just say what Jenna had posted. Maybe temporary paralysis. Not quad, but there's maybe temporary loss of her legs. Would you handle, and not to mean to put you on the spot, would you handle it? And would you want to handle it? And how would you handle it?
Well, before I answer that question, I'm gonna pick it back on Kina. As you may remember, just in case y'all didn't know, we had a story about a boyfriend-girlfriend couple. The boyfriend was looking for a matching kidney, and turns out that the girlfriend was the matching donor. Mm-hmm. And soon as he got the organ, and he wound up and cheated on her. So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because you may never know. After that organ donation, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna deal with it no more." There would be a lack of empathy right there. Lack of empathy is a pet peeve. You were right about that one, Shantina. That was a lack of empathy. He was not empathetic. I don't even hear a word of thank you to the girlfriend. Not even a simple thank you for saving my life. So that was what you like to call a twist of fate right there. But yeah, Tia, I was blown. I was mad about that. You were right about that. You got the right emojis up there. But to answer your question, Mike, I'm still speaking to a good friend of mine. She is in a relationship with her husband for a long time. I'll say 20 years tops. I mean, after he got paralyzed and he had that stroke on his left side, he couldn't even move much here, and he was on the wheelchair. She's still taking care of him. She's still taking care of him, so to speak. He's still up and about, walking, making sure he goes dialysis and everything. It all depends on what type of woman that I seek. Anyway, if that was me, I would go with it. I would say, listen, I may never know what may happen to me, but if anything were to happen to me, if I be paralyzed there, I'm gonna need your help. But you gotta be aware. Like Tina says, you gotta be aware of the type of people that we tend to deal with anyway on an everyday basis here. So, if it was me, I'll probably be putting up the yellow flag, so to speak. I'll be real cautious. But I will never ever take anything for granted. Hey, if push comes to shove here.
Okay. Thank you. Let me read it. Well, let me read what Reginald says first. If we're talking marriage, and he's another one, I read something from him, I hear it in his voice. If we are talking marriage, then in the sickness and in health, meaning you don't walk away from your mate until death do you part. If believe some folks don't understand what they gave, declared before God and company. And sister, I forgot to mute my phone, y'all. Okay.
Mike.
Hey, it's been a long
Somebody got something to say.
Okay. Anyway, Sister Sasha Doja. If the relationship is real genuine, then a medical crisis shouldn't break it. What makes a relationship is seeing he or she in all seasons.
Amen.
A medical crisis would be one of those seasons. All you can do is take one day at a time and one prayer at a time. Problem sometimes is people don't want to leave their comfort zone to make someone else comfortable.
Amen.
Okay. Sister Andrea, Sister Jenkins, head of the mother's board.
Wow.
Dang, right?
Yes,
I know, right?
Yes, I mean, really.
Just ugly.
No. Okay.
No, don't just go to the question.
Okay.
Because he already said it. You can't fix it. No, fixing it is gonna make it worse.
Okay.
Listen.
Question.
I'm gonna twist this around. I'm gonna give you a little twist on this one. You dating this fella, and maybe 3 or 4 months, things looking great, looking fantastic, everything just like, wow, I can see myself being with this person. Okay. God forbid this ever happening. But what if your baby have a medical crisis and end up in the hospital? What type of support would you want and would you expect from your partner at the time?
Oh wow. I think I'll go back to I think Dwayne said this, that it speaks to the level of the relationship that they have with you. So, if someone has been with me for an extended amount of time, they know my child, they've bonded with them, and they have a relationship with them. I'm going to expect them to be, present. Now, I'm not the person who has made every person, well, I haven't had a relationship where they've been that close to my son. But if it's a situation where I have allowed them to be a part of my life and to be a part of my child's life, then my expectation is that they're going to, act accordingly, and they're going to be supportive, because now we have a package, and you can't separate me from, you know, my child. So I'm going to expect that. Now, if for some reason they choose not to, then that also uh, gives me some reason to be cautious and to question, because you're not going to be able to have a relationship with me that's going to move further if you're not going to accept things that happen within the family. So those kind of things, and then too, and I said this to you earlier. There's a difference between a medical crisis and then a medical situation. We have crisis. People have crisis. I won't say often, but that's almost like a part of life. Somebody falls, they break their hip. That's a crisis. What happened with you? That was a crisis, but it's not necessarily. Now, if that crisis were, say, you saw somebody, they passed out, they go to the hospital, they find out that they have a life-threatening condition, then we're talking about a different type of commitment. And you have to look at that, because most people will deal with things through a crisis, because crisis sometimes almost says short term, or it has like almost like a time limit on it, as opposed to a medical condition where that could mean, like they said, till death do you part, or making the commitment that you're going to stick with that person until, and that could be years. I think about I had a some years ago had a tumor on my foot that was benign, but the person who I thought was here, who was going to help me, was not the person who did it. And it actually turned out to be my son's father, who came from Atlanta, moved into my dad's house where we were staying at the time, and took care of me for a good month and a half. Couldn't walk. And then on top of that, took care of, my dad, because I was his caretaker at the time, and I couldn't do what I needed to do as a caretaker. And so at that point, that gave me a different outlook, because we weren't together. But he asked me, "Do you need help?" And I said, "If you didn't mind." He came in and took care of things that I never would have thought he would have done prior to that happening.
That is interesting. That's a good response right there. That is interesting. Shantina Allen says, I'd communicate what is happening and that I want emotional support more than anything else. I have to see about my baby and would expect them to be understanding about the impact on my time. Well, I just say this, bottom line on this though is support in a relationship is good, and support in a relationship is necessary. But I don't know, time limit. It just all depends on what the situation is. Some people can handle it. Some people cannot handle it. So that's the bottom line.
You know what, Mike? To also throw like another aspect to it. Sometimes sickness can trigger people.
I agree.
If someone has watched somebody go through something horrific, or and being very honest and transparent, I was a caregiver for both my parents for 10 years. 3 years with my mother, then another 7 years like following right that with my dad. And it took a lot after the fact, like after my dad passed, for me to get it together. And I never would have. It was a hard situation. And so to do it again, not to say I wouldn't do it, but I know what that would mean, and I know what that took. And not so much, I mean, granted, it was physical, but that mental was no joke. And it took a long time after my father passed. I mean, even to grieve, because there was so much that you had to let go of. And so when if you've been in a situation where, say, you watch somebody pass away, you've seen somebody in an accident, you've seen some of those things, for somebody to be hesitant is not necessarily like a negative thing, because they've been through some things. And there needs to be maybe a little bit of grace, especially if they're transparent with it, a little bit of grace, and like, what, I would really love to, but I don't know. For someone to say I don't know because of what they've experienced, I'm not sure that that's a bad thing.
Okay, I get that. I sure enough get it. I get that. Well, that was pretty insightful right there, that first topic. And that was just the first topic, y'all. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That was just the first topic.
Feel a setup.
Who, me? No, anyway. So this next topic, and we got 3 fellas in here, and I'm glad it is 3-3 in here, is, look how Keena looking. Men and their emotions. Men and their emotions.
Come on.
Okay, y'all. And back in the day, society had it that men weren't supposed to cry, at least publicly cry. And my thing is, especially to the ladies and to the guys, is it good or not good for a man is it good for a man to suppress his emotions? Okay. And then on the flip side, is it good for the man to express too many emotions? Okay. Who's going first?
I'm going.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Keena got something to say.
You want to go, Dewan? You want me to go?
Yeah, Keena, she done leaned over and everything. Yeah.
Oh, Leslie brought the fan.
Leslie got the fan. Leslie got the fan.
I'm fanning Keena. Come on, Keena, girl.
You have to. The idea that in 2022 that we're still talking about whether you should hide your emotions is probably no. You should acknowledge them and speak their name and call them out and put some respect on their name. Say if it's anger, it's anger. If you're mad, it's mad. If you're sad, it's sad. But a lot of times those things, anger is actually sadness covered up. And you don't address that, and it comes out as something else. And and I know we can look, we can look on TikTok or all different social media, and you got this spring right now of toxic masculinity. I'm a this high value man, and the Kevin Samuels. Even though some of the stuff he says is not that bad, but it's like, I mean, some of it. But
it's the way he say it, though. It's just the way he say it. It's like, yeah, you gonna give me this truth, but you gonna knock me down in the dirt.
Table in my own name. You gonna be nice to me. I have a mortgage, okay? You gonna speak nice. I think it's just the idea that no one, male or female, should be suppressing emotions. However, we should be able to deal with those emotions in adult ways, in proper ways, and have emotional intelligence. And that's been a buzzword in HR communities for the last few years, because we have microaggressions that happen at work, and they spill out over just little simple things. It's because we don't deal with our emotions in proper ways. And honestly, if we had more men, and I've said this over and over again, it's not going to be a woman to do it. It's going to be a man to talk to other men to say, hey, brother, you can let this stuff out in a positive way. You don't have to go around being mad and sad. I honestly believe if DMX would have had a moment to really express the emotions and the demons that was inside of him, he would be alive today. And many of our black men and many of our black women, mostly our black men, which I'm talking about now, they don't get that outlet that express those emotions without being belittled by other men who haven't learned how to talk to other men about their own emotions and their own things. And I think we have to get to a point where it is okay. And we have to get to a point where we as women can allow that without also stepping into that time bomb of, I need him to thug him too. No, that ain't cute. Okay. Thug, that the roughneck attitude is problematic as well. That's a lifestyle that you don't want. Okay.
I get you.
We have to get into it. And until we get to that point, we're going to always have these issues. And that's all I got to say.
So I hear you. I hear you, Sis Walker. Jenna Morgan says, it's all right for a guy to cry, but we can't both be crying at the same time. I was grieving my mother and my ex. And this is not fun. I don't know why I think that's hard. But my ex decided to cry over something else. That's crazy right there. That's what I'm snickering about. He did cry.
That's selfish. It's selfish.
That's crazy right there.
He just wanted attention.
Yeah. He decided to cry over something else. When that was my moment of a serious loss, and it was. I needed the shoulder at the time. Pissed me off. And I can understand, listen, I can understand, and I slightly disagree when you say we both can't be crying at the same time. Because if he was sharing your grief and both y'all crying over your dear mother, then that's one thing. Y'all crying together, the saying, it's gonna be all right. But even then, I hate to sound this way, he should still be the stronger one because you need his shoulder to lean upon. Now, if he's sitting up there balding like Wanda on Good Times, then we got a problem though, right there.
And you realize when Wanda started balling on Good Times, they escorted Wanda right out that door.
Right?
So we don't need this energy here, Wanda. We don't need this. We don't need this right now. This ain't about you right now.
Nope.
Okay, you didn't even know these folks that died, but you crying. So just go home and cry by yourself, because we gonna handle this right here. So
didn't they have folks like that in the Bible that were like professional mourners?
Yep.
This kind of, they were just there just for that. That was their whole job. Just
to put on the show. Yeah, to put on the show.
Yeah, when Jay Iris's daughter had died, they had those professional mourners. The senator, you know, that's so support is men showing support is good though, but he has to be the stronger one though. And I hope this doesn't sound too sexist when I'm about, you know, but if I'm comforting my lady friend, then, you know, I shed a tear, but both of us shouldn't be, you know, balling. That's all I'm gonna say. You know,
you have to be the caregiver in that situation. I mean, if they're dealing with it, and nothing says that a caregiver can't feel and have empathy and also shed a tear, but you're the one, you're the comforter, you're the supporter. You know, we have to know our role in situations like this. And people have to realize that when we're in relationship with people, our roles change.
Yes.
It flows. Sometimes we have to be the encourager, and sometimes we need your encouragement. You know, we have to be the supporter, and sometimes we have to be supported. So, and when we're sick, we need someone to help take care of us. Just like when you're sick, I'm gonna sit here and take care of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Those roles change, and we have to learn how to adapt to that. So for men, I mean, it's about showing empathy.
Yes.
You know, I want to know that a man has the capacity to feel and can actually comprehend the emotions that I'm dealing with, and can actually comprehend the emotions that he is feeling and not feel hindered in expressing it. You should have somewhere that you're comfortable enough to shed that tear. It may not be in the workplace, it may not be in the street or wherever you are around your boys, but you need to have, if it's just by yourself in the closet, you need to have in the tub, sit on the toilet, wherever you gotta be. You need to have somewhere where you can release those emotions, because if you can't, it is dangerous. It's dangerous to people in your circle, it's dangerous to people in the street. It's dangerous for your mental health and your physical health. We have to have someone we can release it. If you got to watch The Notebook or some sad whatever to release it, to let it out, do what you have to do, because holding it in, high blood pressure, hypertension, all this other stuff.
And not just like sad emotions, but just emotions in general.
Yes, anger, frustration, all of that. Anytime stress, if you're feeling stressed, what can you do to relieve the anxiety, depression? I just posted a question earlier today on and I'm like, man, I'm glad I posted that, because I think it just blessed me and so many people. And I asked people that, you know, I said, for me, I'm single, I live alone, and I'm somewhat introverted. So my mental health is a focus for me. So my thing is that what I've committed myself last year, and definitely part of my 2022, is to make sure I pray and I laugh every day. That's what's going to help me stay focused on my mental. I'm talking to God, and I'm looking for something to make me like laugh deeply.
Yes.
Every day. I'm looking, if it's a TikTok, I just saw an episode on this little Steve Harvey Judge show. Oh my God, I hollered. Oh my God, it was so funny. But I'm making sure I do those two things every day. That's my part of my simple stuff. I ain't spend no money to do that. Okay. This is free self-care. And I think as men, we have to, and it was on the Today Show this morning, is a group of men that started this yoga class. And it started with just a few of them, and then it grew to like 50. I mean, like several, like tons. These guys like work full-time jobs, and they're doing this yoga just for Black men.
Wow.
Just so they can have a place to focus
Wow.
on mindfulness and meditation and just releasing and just talking. Yeah, we got to do this. We got to do this. You have to have a safe space. If you don't have it, if you can't think of one person you can cry in front of and tell them about your hurt, you need to go find that person.
Wow.
Like immediately. You need to find somebody.
Wow.
And
wow.
ability to feel joy and not feel like there was going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it and embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what though, on the flip side of that, you know, if there are situations that are making you, you know, just life in general is making you emotional all the time, then that's also kind of like a signal that you might need to talk to somebody. You know, I'm thinking back when I was in college, there was this guy that I was dating, and he was like one of those overly clingy kind of guys, you know, to the point. And so one morning he wanted me to come to breakfast, and I didn't have a class, so didn't want to get up. And if I don't tell you that this boy cried like I mean deep, I mean he was wounded that I didn't come to breakfast. I mean, and every time I turned around, he was crying about something else. And after a while, I was like, you know, we might need to take you to some, you know, the professionals at the college, because there was some other stuff going on. Because something like me not going to breakfast should not make you have like an absolute breakdown.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
You know. But I also think that, you know, from the perspective of a woman, we need to be able to give the men in our lives permission, per se, and a safety zone when they're with us, you know. And that's always something that I want whoever that I'm with to know, that with me, you're safe. And so if you need to cry, if you need to, you know, frustration, you know, now I'm not, you know, promoting, you know, you be throwing stuff and, you know, be violent. But when it comes to, you know, letting out your emotions, you know, that you have a safety zone within our atmosphere. And you don't have to worry about me going out and betraying you by saying, you know, oh, he was on my lap crying. You know, he should feel safe with the person that he's with, if nobody else, you know, because he might not be able to feel comfortable with his boys or, you know, his brothers or whatever. But if he's in a relationship, there should be an aspect of safety that a man should have to be able to say, you know what, I know that if I go to Andrea or go to Kina, you know, Leslie, that I can cry if I need to. I can express fear. I can express frustration, and know that, you know, she's not going to get on the phone and, you know, gossip to her girlfriends about her man.
That's very good. Very good.
Okay, now, brother Will Banks and Pastor Jackson. Somebody asked a question. Nina L. Robinson, and this question is for both of y'all. Is it unusual for a man not to cry?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay.
No, because I my dad, he grew up in Montgomery, Alabama.
My hometown. Okay.
Yeah, and so he was there, you know, during MLK, all the riots and all that. So his background was very disruptive. I'll say that. So I've seen, in my 46 years of living, I've seen him cry maybe twice. Once when he got a medical diagnosis, and so, you know, he had to go through things, and he was scared. Second time is when the Holy Ghost hit him in church. Those are the only two times. And so I think for me, I don't suppress my emotions, but you got to let them out. So it's going to come out some way. So what I do like, because I just had a job interview this past week, and so, I was so stressed about everything. And so what I've been doing lately, which I've been noticing, is on a Friday, I'll turn off my social media. I'll just zone out on movies and Netflix, and I won't talk to nobody for like a day or two. That's the way I deal with my emotions. I just need time to myself, you know. But I used to get frustrated and stressed at work and be like so angry, and then came to realize that why this is affecting your mental health. This is affecting your physical health. And so now I just try to deal with it in my own way. And we was just bringing this up. I just brought this up last week about mental health with my coworkers. One of my friends, they go talk to psychologists or psychologists like every 6 months. I talked to my coworker today. She was telling me she sees somebody pays $130, but she sees them like an hour every other week. You got to take care of yourself mentally and physically.
Okay. Okay, Deacon Wilbanks.
It is not unusual for a man not to cry, because let me tell you something. It happens on an everyday basis when you have to reverse back to the relationship part when it comes to couples anyway. Certain men will take advantage of the woman in her vulnerable state and then act like I ain't do anything wrong. Well, what did I do? And that something like that. But like Dewan says, it is unhealthy for me to suppress the emotions, because let me tell you something. I can still remember the day, September 12th, 2019. I had to come to the realization that I'm pretty much like DMX when he was alive. When he made the song "I Miss You," that was leaning towards his grandmother, and his grandmother and my grandmother are pretty much eerily similar in contrast. Because if you reverse back to the song "I Miss You," when he did the duet with Faith Evans, as he thanked his grandma for all the times he wakes up in the morning and sings "Amazing Grace." Pretty much like my grandmother. Every time I get ready to go to school, she wakes up in the morning and she turns on the radio. And I think you remember that way back when, before AM 900 in the morning, and she hums to some spirituals here and there. But hey, that's my grandmother right there. I thanked her for all the times that she had wakes up in the morning and makes me feel inspired, for that matter. So we oftentimes we have to come to realization that we may not live long, but it's tough for me to reverse back and think back how hard I cried. I was bawling myself, because that's like the real connection between. I had two grandmothers. I'm blessed with two grandmothers anyway, but the grandmother that I was connected with was my dad's mom. That's the one living grandparent that I bet, just like DMS, I begged the Lord to take me instead of her anyway. Mm-hmm. I would have traded places with her, but hey, she lived to be 94, and that's all the years I can even give her for her to get to know me for, let me see, now 37 years. Mm-hmm. that I got to know her. That's well enough for me. Okay. So it is not unusual for a man to cry, but it is unusual for a man to not cry and not show emotion and not be empathetic about it. Mm-hmm. But it's not unusual to me to let it out.
I get you, and I let it out each time I get a chance. Mm-hmm. If I can make it on time. But okay, and here's right here. Tiffany Murphy says, "Dear Black man, express yourself. Cry if you need to. But remember, just like you want a woman with some strength, we as women want the same. So that's pretty interesting right there. So, and this makes a kind of interesting segue to our next topic. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is very important. Like, subscribe, and share so we can open the kitchen.
No.
I'll move on.
Kitchen closed. There's no kitchen. We sold. Hold on now. Let me tell you now. There's no kitchen. We sold the stove. We sold the refrigerator. We sold all the utensils. It's not one pan or pot.
Okay, y'all.
We turned the gas off.
Okay.
Get yourself a cracker.
You know, we're gonna have a long talk. We have a long talk after this broadcast. But okay, listen to this. Now we talking about men and emotions. Now there have been a time I've heard some weird stories about a dude dating one of my best friends. He dated this woman. I'm trying to keep this as G-rated as possible.
I'm trying to figure out which friend this is.
And she wanted him to do something.
GC? No.
To do something that only females do, right? And of course, he objected to it and asked her, well, why? And she told him, well, he needed to get in touch with his feminine side. Okay. Those out in the audience, if you caught on what I'm talking about, just say I got it. Okay, please do, because Liz, everybody else got it.
Text me.
I got it.
Leslie, I don't know.
That one went over my head. That one went over my head.
Batteries not included. So okay, nah. Okay.
Yeah, ask that question, Mike. Ask that question.
You know what? Okay. So I go get to this question right quick. That she just like Edith Barker.
Don't worry. I just text Keena. She know what I'm guessing. I'm just guessing, Keena.
Definitely. Look, everybody got it. Hey, Denisha, glad to see you.
You know, we talking about Andre.
Yep.
Okay.
Look at Jenna.
His kink, let it be his kink, but
okay, wait, Tia, we'll talk about it in the after party. Okay. So let me get to
I'm with you, Tia. I ain't understanding inside it right there.
Okay. So the point is there such a thing as getting in touch with your feminine / masculine side? Is there such a thing as doing that?
There is. Hello.
I mean,
Marcus, you need to know the whole situation. Let's somebody text Marcus.
Somebody text Marcus. Let him know.
He said it too quick, Keena. He said it too quick.
Yeah, he answered too quick on that one.
Put it in the private chat so he aware.
Now I'm good. Look, we still may not be right. Okay, hold on.
No.
so I don't need to put that thing on me to feel like a man. No.
Not that.
Thing.
Oh, the other thing?
Over. If you want me, I'm not. That's
what?
One of those two. It's one of those two.
Wait. Let me just go and clear this up, y'all.
Don't say it, Mike.
I gotta say it.
We can't get in trouble.
What trouble?
What trouble?
That's more than him.
I done been through hell and back. What? This ain't nothing right here, folks.
Marcus said no in the private chat. Quickly
no,
there isn't that much feminism.
Marcus said he wanted to
Wait a minute.
Marcus is taking his answer back. He said no.
Thank you. Thank you. We are. Let me go and say this.
But we knew, Marcus, that you didn't know. So you gotta pass because we knew.
Listen, I'm gonna just say this to the studio
I was going G-rated, not that way.
Listen. She wanted to use a strap-on my best friend, my male best friend.
Oh.
So he can get in touch with his feminine side. So there you have it, folks.
How does that
What? How?
That ain't
Now.
You see what G Giles is spread them. So
see, I would have concerns. I have concerns if he's okay with that.
No, he wasn't.
And just takes it in stride. I would have concerns because I'm thinking not only did he get in touch with his feminine side, he might be playing for a different team.
That's a good test.
Hello.
It's a good test.
That would be my concern.
Someone on the DL.
It's like I need to know what team you're playing on.
Yeah, that's a good test. It's a good. Maybe she was trying to test him, Mike.
No, and that's a good point. That's a good point right there.
There's so many men out here that are on that DL thing,
right?
And they don't want to admit it. But sometimes you drop a few nuggets and see if they get a little excited. Then oh, okay, you like that. Nah, I know. So.
I had a girlfriend who her husband had spent some time in prison.
Oh,
and when he came back, she had some concerns because he suggested that, and she was like, she felt a little some kind of way, and it was like that wasn't a part of their curriculum before he went to jail, and so she was like, yeah, and folks will think that don't count, and I'm like, but it does, but it does count.
Wait, and he asked her.
He asked her. I would be like, yeah, you know what?
But there's a lot. There's several men out there, and they don't consider themselves gay. That like prostate, whatever
stimulation.
A movie. It's something on TikTok that's going around where this couple, they're in a shower, and she notices a condom in him.
Huh?
Yeah. And she pulls it out, and she is like freaking out, and she attacks him and locks him in the bathroom.
Hold on. Wait a minute. What is your algorithm on TikTok?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, my God, praise and worship.
I'm getting
everything.
The preachers and they dancing to the songs and all this. What did you come across and switched up your whole algorithm? What is that?
So the woman is sitting on the bed. She's thinking about it. And she breaks the glass.
Girl, don't say it. I may come up in my algorithm. Don't say it. Y'all know Facebook is always listening.
Slices him. He doesn't argue. Doesn't say anything. He's like, I'm sorry. And I could not. I would be this. It's just like Cover. I could not. Remember the movie Cover from like 90? I don't have it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. I felt I knew else what she was going to close. If I was a woman, I could make myself beautiful for my husband. But he don't want that. He want a man.
Well,
you know what? The only thing that will get me in touch with my feminine side is body wash. That's the only thing. Cucumber, melon, that. But other than that, no, bro.
Hair glaze, yeah.
Soap we can deal with.
Yep. I'm with the one. That's body wash. Body wash counts for me.
Yeah.
So how does a woman get in touch with her masculine side?
I was about to ask that.
What is it the desire to change my oil in my car? I mean, my dad taught me how to do that. I did it a few times in college. I ain't had no money, but I have no desire.
There's no desire
to do it. So what's the masculine? What's the feminine feeling the masculine? Is my low haircut? Is this not
or
masculine?
not shaving? Or what, like
Like shaving underarms.
Yeah, maybe not shaving your arms or legs or something. I mean, I don't know.
Or
is this masculine? I just don't like paying $80 to get my hair done, so I just cut it all off. Is this masculine?
Not
low
to me.
Haircut, the natural cuts. I mean, what? I don't get it.
Maybe it's the fact that you use Irish Spring.
That's the bomb. That's the bomb, Irish Spring, baby.
Oh, that's
What's the other one? The Old Spice. There you go. Old Spice body wash.
Yeah, Old Spice.
The woman uses Old Spice.
Yeah, they have commercials. They have the Old Spice commercials with
Patti LaBelle,
Dean Cole, and
that actually smells good though.
Because it's smelling. Because from my understanding, they changed the scent of it. Smells a whole lot.
Smells good.
Where she wants to use some of it too. Okay, that means it smells too good.
It actually does. I have it at my house.
Really? Really?
Yeah, I like it.
You bought it?
I got it right here, actually.
Oh, okay. We got an example. Demonstrate.
I actually do.
This Tuesday Talk has been brought to you by Old Spice.
Old Spice, the body wash. You go, girl.
Yep, it smells good though.
Yeah, that's the one. That's one I be using too.
That's the one. That's the one Patty uses, and I'm a Patty fan. So if Patty says it's okay, I'm good with her. And she's all woman.
Hey,
Patty's single too.
Exactly.
You know what, y'all?
Look, Keith Slick woke up. Is it
so she's single and rich?
You wrong, Leslie. You wrong.
I'm just saying. We can't be repeating this stuff. We gotta look at the whole person. Patty uses Old Spice. What does Patty have that I want? She's single.
Say, I want that mahogany teakwood.
Girl, that's it. That's my wallflower in my house right now. It smells like a good smelling man.
A good smelling man. Good job. Look like he pays bills on time.
With a savings account and an investment account.
Exactly. He know what a money market account is. Like
all that. He know what annuity means.
And you know what? Since Andre had brought out the Old Spice, here's the masculine side I use. The axe.
Does the axe work? I heard the axe is supposed to be a good aphrodisiac. The way the commercials go, does the axe work?
Axe Phoenix.
You guys really think that axe covers funk?
I only use that after I take a bath.
Exactly.
As you should.
And that's wait a minute. But let's be clear now. That's not the only thing that I use, because I have some lady speed stick stuff here too. So we
covering it up. She's trying
to put it out there, like we have like I had a problem. I want to clear it up. I'm trying not to be single. Y'all up there messing it up.
You know what?
I gotta be clear.
So I have a question. What feminine ways do the men find attractive about a woman?
After party stuff, but
is it?
We'll answer that question at the after party.
We're gonna have a PowerPoint and all in the after party. Somehow we're gonna list them. The other way around, what the women like. The masculine ways of a man is what the women like. That's after party.
So if y'all want to tune into this gonna be after party stuff, right? That's a good discussion for the after party, y'all.
Okay, I haven't been to an after party in a minute. I might have to go get my glass like Leslie and join in.
Y'all better do that, y'all. Oops, I meant to do that. Yeah. But folks, I haven't said this in 21 days.
Is it already?
We are out of time.
We are out of time. We are out of time. We are out of time. And this one been off the chain, y'all. This one been off the chain. I think that was pent up frustration from all of y'all since we didn't do this in 3 weeks. I think that's what that is right there. Though.
I think it was based on frustration. You pointed out very much exactly, Mr. Walker.
Oh wow. Well, Sister Jenkins, I'd be so honored if you do this week's announcements.
Oh, I thought he was going to say do the benediction.
The benediction.
You know what, y'all folks.
You're not right for
He
that
said
one.
it so reverently. It was like, well, girl, you better turn to them pages of Jude.
I could pray for y'all. Leave you too, because you might need to call on Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, guys, the after party is coming up soon. If you watch the link, Mike will put that up for you, and we'll be able to continue this invigorating conversation at the after party. I might not make it there with you, but y'all go to the mountaintop and y'all do what y'all need to do. And Saturday night we'll have the Saturday night social. From what I hear, what happens at the social stays at the social. So I'm pretty sure that they have some enlightening conversation going on there. And then come next week, Tuesday, we will do this all again, y'all. Get your beverages, get your Alka-Seltzer, get whatever you need, because some of these conversations can be, as you can tell, a bit much.
She said the beverages and the Alka-Seltzer. Nobody's gonna be able to wake up at 8:00 in the Central Time Zone for that one.
Get your Tums, whatever you need to gotta get through some of these.
Oh, not the Tums. You got going.
Folks, I can't even. Folks, this been one for the books. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm blaming it on Marcus.
This is one for the books, y'all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope the studio. I keep saying studio audience. I hope those out there in video land enjoyed it. And just thank you, Leslie, Dwan, Keena, Marcus, and Andrea. Thank you all so much. And if there's nothing else, let us stand. And just
May the Lord watch between me and thee. Wow.
No.
I posted the benediction in the comments. Y'all can read it at
y'all
yes,
can
sure
read
did.
it.
To him who is able to keep you from falling, stumbling.
No. And we about to go, y'all. While I play this R&B music to close us out. So thank y'all so much.
Let's take some time and think for a minute. What's going on? And are we with it? I got no phone call made, but if no one calls, it's another day. How can I explain to you what I feel and what is true? And how can I do my best? How do you? How do you? I hear the things that people say. Don't believe, 'cause it's not that way. I know what I'm talking about. I'm here, baby, and have no doubt.